Let's start on a high note for once. The Winter Olympics are in full swing right now, and honestly, nothing beats those raw, emotional interviews right after someone grabs a medal. Athletes from every corner of the globe, faces lit up with absolute elation. It's the kind of pure happiness that cuts through everything else. I live for those moments. But then came this one clip that flipped the script entirely. A reporter congratulates Norway's Sturla Holm Lægreid on his bronze in the biathlon, asking how he's feeling, and instead of beaming with pride, he drops this bombshell. It's been the absolute worst week of his entire life. Laughter ripples through the room because, come on, the guy just medaled at the Olympics. How bad could it be? Turns out pretty bad on the personal front. Through tears, he explains that about 6 months back, he met someone he calls the love of his life, the most incredible, beautiful woman he's ever known. Then 3 months ago, he made what he describes as the single biggest error of his existence. He was unfaithful to her. He confessed it to her just a week earlier, and everything fell apart. The relationship ended, and here he is pouring it all out on live international television right after crossing the finish line. Look, most winners would shout out their family, their coaches, maybe a quick nod to their country. This guy? He goes straight for the confessional booth on global TV. Not exactly the standard victory speech. You have to wonder what other ways are there to handle that kind of regret. Send flowers, write a heartfelt letter, or just swallow it and let it eat away quietly instead of detonating it in front of cameras. Publicly unloading guilt like that feels like a desperate Hail Mary, but it also drags everyone else into the mess. And get this, the relationship was only 6 months old. They were barely past the stage where you're still on your best behavior, holding in everything to keep the magic alive. You know, the phase where if nature calls in an embarrassing way, you excuse yourself to another room. 6 months isn't long enough for deep forgiveness tests like this. Yet he hijacks his own bronze medal spotlight to beg for a second chance. Meanwhile, his teammate Johan Olav Botten takes gold in the same event, the men's 20-kilometer individual, and delivers a far more poignant dedication. He honors a fallen teammate who passed away unexpectedly back in December. That's the kind of moment that should dominate headlines: respect, loss, resilience. Instead, the airtime gets split with personal drama from the bronze winner. It's almost as if someone decided their short-lived romance trumped honoring the dead. Harsh? Maybe, but the contrast is glaring. Did the grand gesture pay off? Reports from a Norwegian tabloid say no. His ex told them it's tough to move past the betrayal, especially when he chose to blast their private pain across the world stage without her consent. She didn't sign up for that exposure. She called it painful to be thrust into the spotlight like this. So the public apology didn't land the reconciliation he hoped for. If anything, it probably made forgiveness even harder. On the flip side, now the whole world knows his track record. 3 months into a relationship, fidelity went out the window. Future dates are forewarned. That's one way to set expectations low from the start. And if things felt rough for him, imagine the optics when even skiing legend Lindsey Vonn weighs in, basically saying, "This athlete's week has been brutal." When pros like her notice, you know it's bad. This whole saga makes you question what draws certain personalities to biathlon. The sport already demands you ski hard in freezing conditions wearing skin-tight gear, then steady your breathing to fire a rifle accurately. It attracts intense, high-stakes people. But why so many headlines veer into chaos? Take the women's side. France's Julia Simon claims gold in the 15-kilometer individual. Solid performance, right? Except last fall, a French court convicted her of theft and credit card fraud. She received a 3-month suspended sentence after using a teammate's card, along with a staff member's, to rack up unauthorized online purchases worth thousands of euros. She admitted it, apologized, claimed she couldn't fully recall or explain her actions at the time. Stealing from your own team in a sport built on trust and precision, it raises eyebrows. Sure, it's wrong, no debate there, but you also wonder about the financial pressures. Biathlon isn't exactly flooding athletes with massive paychecks. Sponsorships are limited, maybe a handful per year if you're lucky. Enough to scrape by, but hardly luxurious. Desperation can push people to dark places, though it never justifies the crime. From Olympic drama to political theater, things are sliding fast in other arenas too. Over in Washington, Attorney General Pam Bondi faced a grilling in Congress. Lawmakers hammered her on issues ranging from immigration enforcement to the ongoing fallout from Jeffrey Epstein's files. Expectations were for measured, professional responses, something befitting the nation's top law enforcement officer. Instead, it turned into a shouting match. Bondi pushed back hard, refusing to play along with what she called theatrical questioning. Exchanges got personal quick. One Democrat reminded her of past Senate behavior, calling her out as more politician than lawyer, accusing hypocrisy. She fired back, defending her approach and refusing to yield time. The hearing felt less like oversight and more like a chaotic classroom argument. Traditionally, the Attorney General role carries weight, seriousness, restraint. Lately, these sessions look more like someone hauled into the principal's office, defiant and unapologetic. A lot of viewers were frustrated because many tuned in, hoping for real accountability on Epstein's victims. Survivors deserve answers, transparency, justice. Yet Bondi pivoted repeatedly to defending President Trump, calling him the greatest in history, the most transparent ever. She even brought up the stock market hitting highs, as if that settled everything. When laughter broke out, she doubled down. It was embarrassing on multiple levels. If you're going to defend yourself that aggressively on live TV, at least have a medal to show for it first. Dignity seemed in short supply. Shifting gears to something closer to home for me in Michigan, good news for Trump, apparently. For years, the Ambassador Bridge has been the main link between Detroit and Canada, a private toll operation. During Trump's first term, Canada broke ground on the Gordie Howe International Bridge, a public alternative fully funded north of the border, set to share ownership with Michigan. No more monopoly tolls from a billionaire owner. It promises better flow, economic boosts for both sides. Trump once spoke poetically about it. America lucky to have Canada as a neighbor, time to build more bridges, literal and figurative, for trade and cooperation. Back then, it sounded like basic diplomacy. Fast forward, and the bridge nears completion, testing phases underway, potential opening on the horizon. Suddenly, Trump threatens to block it entirely unless the U.S. gets fully compensated for past aid to Canada, demanding fairness and respect. Friendship? Out the window. What has it ever gotten him besides awkward associations? Why the flip? Records show the Ambassador Bridge's owner, Matthew Maroon, lobbied the administration aggressively, right around the time Trump went public with his threats. A meeting with a key official, a follow-up call, then the outburst. Coincidence? Hardly. You support the project until a major donor whispers in your ear, and suddenly you're against it. Trump's corruption has always been up front. You don't need to dig deep to trace the influence. The money trail is obvious. It's almost comical, like a fairy tale twist. Picture this. Someone cracks the code on why policy shifts so fast. A mysterious voice chimes in. Congratulations, you've solved the puzzle. Bribe the man, and the path clears. But wait, there's more. If companies crave bigger profits through a merger, same answer. Want drilling rights in protected waters? Guess what sways him? Facing a long sentence for serious crimes? One thing might make it vanish. The pattern never changes. It's always about the payoff. So why guard this metaphorical bridge? The troll admits, tried bribing with crypto investments tied to him, watched it tank, lost it all, ended up stuck there. Sad story. But even then, the ask, let me crash on your couch to get back on my feet. We're past rhyming at this point, but slant rhymes work, apparently. That's the Gordie Howe Bridge saga for you, wrapped in absurdity, but revealing a deeper truth about how decisions get made at the top.